Hola, ¿cómo estáis? Hoy vamos a ver cómo preguntar o pedir. We will see how to ask or order. We will compare how this is done in both Spanish and English in the context of a bar or a restaurant. Ordering food and drink in Spanish-speaking environment is one of the first opportunities many students have to try out their Spanish, and it is a great way to get stuck in and have fun with the language. Be very careful never to translate literally from English to Spanish when you are asking or ordering, as the typical phrases we use in Spanish are quite different to those used in English-speaking environments. In English, for example, you might say, "Can I have a coffee?" But if you translate this literally and say, "¿Puedo tomar un café?" in a Spanish bar or in a restaurant, it will sound as if you were asking for permission to have a coffee. This is just one example, but there are many other instances when you can run into problems. Let's see what Spanish speakers say when we order in a bar or in a restaurant. Sometimes we just say directly what we want, followed by por favor. For example, una cerveza y un café con leche, por favor. This is perfectly correct, and it doesn't sound rude at all. Sometimes we don't even say por favor, and nobody gets offended by it. You can also use imperative commands, again without any risk of sounding rude or abrupt. We usually use the verb poner, which means to put, and say ponme, which is put to me in an informal way. Or you can say póngame, which is also put to me in a formal way. If you are a group of people, then you can say ponnos, which is put to us in an informal way, or pónganos, which is also put to us in a formal way. You can also use the verb traer, which is to bring, and say tráeme, which is bring to me in an informal way, or say tráigame, which is also bring to me in a formal way. And if you are a group of people, then you can say tráenos, which is bring to us in an informal way, or tráiganos, which is bring to us in a formal way. You might have heard or used the verb dar, to give, in the context of a shop when you wish to buy something. However, this verb is not usually used in a bar or a restaurant, and you should avoid saying, for example, dame or deme, which means give to me. You can use questions with the verbs poner and traer also, not just in imperatives. So, for example, you could say, ¿Me pones una Coca-Cola? Or ¿Me pone una Coca-Cola? This is like saying, will you put to me a Coca-Cola? Or you can also say, ¿Me traes un poco de pan? Or ¿Me trae un poco de pan? And this is like saying, will you bring me a bit of bread? And another thing you can use is add the verb poder to these questions to make it a little bit more formal. Maybe you feel a bit more comfortable saying it this way. You could say, ¿Me puedes poner una Coca-Cola? Or ¿Me puede poner una Coca-Cola? Which is, can you put to me a Coca-Cola? Or ¿Me puedes traer un poco de pan? Or ¿Me puede traer un poco de pan? Which is, can you bring me a bit of bread? Don't worry too much if you are not sure if you should use the informal or the formal form of the verb, as nobody will get offended if you use one or the other. As a general rule, if the person you are asking or ordering from is young, use the informal. If they are older and you feel a less friendly atmosphere, use the formal. I mentioned earlier that you shouldn't use puedo, can I, when asking or ordering as it sounds like you are asking for permission. You should also avoid using me gustaría, which means I would like. In English, it's something that you use all the time in bars and restaurants. But in Spanish, it sounds like you are making wishes, thinking about hypothetical things that you would like to happen. Other good tips for managing in Spanish-speaking bar or restaurants are the following. If you want to get the attention of a member of staff, you can say, Oye, this is an informal way, or Oiga, which is the one in a formal way, which means something like listen in English. Again, you might think this sounds a little rude or abrupt, but it's absolutely fine. You can say it in any situation, so don't be afraid to use such phrases. You can also use perdona, which is the informal way, or perdone, which is the formal way, and this means something like excuse me. When you want to pay, you have to say different things depending on whether you are in a bar, cafe, or restaurant. In a bar or cafe, you should say ¿Me cobras? This is the informal form, or ¿Me cobra? Which is the formal form. And they mean something like can you charge me? However, in a restaurant, you can say ¿Me traes la cuenta? Which is the informal way, or ¿Me trae la cuenta? Which is the formal way, which is something like would you bring me the bill or the check? Or you can just simply say la cuenta, por favor. There are not so many key phrases that you need to know in order to manage well in a Spanish-speaking bar or restaurant. Once you have used them a few times and got into the different ways that we ask and order in Spanish, you will have great fun mixing with native Spanish speakers, and they will really appreciate the effort you are making. As I said before, it is really important not to translate typical phrases you will usually use from English to Spanish, as they will quite often sound inappropriate in a Spanish-speaking environment. Don't be afraid to use phrases that sound strange in your own language. Be confident and have fun practicing. Hasta luego!